we're post Nintendo Switch 2 launch.
Ooh.
Not that either of you care that much, because
Nope.
neither of you got one, but I actually brought mine in here, so I have mine, and I'll talk about it for a little bit, but I have mine here. If it,
You
Oh,
click
cool.
the magnets on and off for me.
do you want me? I can, but
I
yeah,
wanna hear
I
it.
have it here. Yeah, I can click the magnets on. I think.
ASMR magnet clicking.
Here, let's see if that works. Let's try. We'll try it real quick.
Ooh,
All right,
I
let's
heard
see.
it.
You ready? You heard it. You heard it.
Oh, that's a
There
good
you
click.
go.
That's a good
I like
click.
how it I will say I like how it clicks. It feels like we'll jump into. I didn't mean to start this, so I will mute that. But so we'll jump into it. So I've had it since last Saturday. I've played a little bit of Mario Kart. I have updated. I keep saying Twilight Princess, Tears of the Kingdom. So I've done the update for that. I walked around a little bit. I mean, it's a much better version of that game. Like 9-day difference in terms of performance and how good it looks.
Yeah.
But I like, as I walked around, I'm like, I don't even know what I was doing in this game. So that might be when I just restart when I'm ready at that point. So the thing I play the most is Mario Kart. And I have not played that much of it, but I will say, like, I do really like it. I've seen a lot of people talking about like the barren open world. I don't think it's that barren. So every time I turn a corner, there's something to do in that open world. At least for me, like there's these little, like every time you kind of turn a corner, there's something to do. Like there's an activity or something. I'm sure once you start doing those, like, yeah, it's going to dry up, but right now,
Or just become the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
at a
and like I
certain
said,
point.
I haven't played that much of it. I've done a couple of the races. I like how the open world connects. I think that's pretty cool. It seems like they crammed quite a bit into that open world. So, but it, like, as far as like racing, it's very similar to 8. They didn't do much. Like some of the other ones, you know how they kind of change things up. Like it wasn't at 7 where they had like the transformations with the vehicles and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's not really that big thing here. The big thing would be the open connected world. So, but I've not played it online yet. So, I did upgrade to the expansion pack. So, for the Nintendo Online, I have not used Game Chat, but I will say I've watched a lot of videos, and it seems like Game Chat, not the video portion, keep that in mind, but like the actual Game Chat works really well with the open mic. I've seen a bunch of people say it actually works pretty well. So, but I've not had a chance to test it. I only know one other person that has a Switch 2 that's using it right now. So, but the other thing that I started, and this will surprise you, Dan, but because I have the expansion pack, I now have access to Genesis. There's GameCube, although the GameCube lineup for launch is kind of weak in my opinion.
It's really lame that they could only get 3 games out of there at launch.
I thought the first Luigi's Mansion was going to be part of it, so that's why I was excited. But I guess that's later this year. But I dived into the GBA collection and I started. I've not played either of these games. It's a favorite of yours, Golden Sun.
Golden Sun, great games.
So I started that last night. So I'm gonna start kind of slowly going through that, amongst other things that I'm playing.
Sure.
But that game seems really good, like especially the combat.
Yeah, the combat's very good. It's just old Final Fantasy, basically.
It's a lot like I thought it would be, because again, I never played it when it came. I remember when it came out. I never played it when it came out. I thought visually it would be more like Final Fantasy of that era, but it actually has kind of an interesting visual style when you get into battles.
Oh yeah,
that seems kind of ahead of its time for a GBA game.
It was very like
so.
I don't think it necessarily was Mode 7 stuff, but it's very similar in terms of like
to that.
How the backgrounds and stuff work.
Yeah. So
and the actual like attack animations and stuff. That game has one flaw in the battle system, and it is if you kill something with someone and the next person was queued up to attack that thing, instead of attacking something else, they do nothing. Which is, old school RPG stuff, but that can get you kind of have to think about stuff later on. You can't just mash A to attack because if the first person kills it, then everybody else does nothing for their turn.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a dumb thing, but I like that game because there's a lot of stuff to do outside of battle. Like you'll get, as you progress, you'll get a lot of like extra powers and stuff you can do to solve puzzles and get things.
Yeah, I'm not very far in it.
No, that game takes a little while to get going too.
There's quite a few, like if you look at some of the other systems, there's not as much. Like Genesis has a few games, but I feel like they could probably have a lot more. That was the only other game I dabbled in on because I tried to dabble in one on each thing except GameCube. I didn't because I didn't. But Genesis, I loaded up the Mega Man. Remember the Mega Man port that had the first 3 games? That's a weird fucking thing that I forgot about. Like playing a Sega Genesis version of Mega Man 1 is very weird.
Yeah, it's an odd port.
So I played the first the Cutsman level. So, and it was very weird because it's not the NES music, it's that 16-bit Genesis music. And I'm not somebody that grew up on the Genesis, so I didn't have one as a kid. I was the Nintendo side of things. So that's why it was weird. Like I'm playing this now, like this doesn't feel right. So I don't know how much more of that I'll go back to, but Golden Sun I'm looking at, and then right now I'm kind of picking Mario Kart, but like also trying to decide what one of these backlog Switch games I want to start first. So I haven't decided yet, but I will say, like, as far as transferring everything over, incredibly smooth. And again, I'm not one of these people that, carried the last 8 years of gaming on this thing. Right. Like I think a lot of Switch users did. So it might be a lot more intense for other people that do that system transfer. But for me, it took 20 minutes to upload on the old system before I got rid of it. And then the new system, it took about the same amount of time, maybe even a little less to download all that data. And then it was all right there. So once it does that, then it does have to re-download like each individual game.
Right.
So that takes a little bit of time. So I kind of had to let it, sit and do its thing while you play Mario Kart. So that's kind of what I did on Saturday.
And I forget, did yours have Mario Kart on it already, or did you get a code?
So let's talk about that part.
Yeah,
of it.
This is weird.
So some versions of the Switch 2 that come with Mario Kart have a code in the box. Some of them have it pre-installed for some reason.
Odd.
I was lucky because the pre-installed one was the one that screwed people over at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know this, for a lot of people that bought the game or bought the system at the midnight launch, Mario Kart did not unlock for those people until 3 a.m. So they could not play Mario Kart at launch. They had to wait a couple hours.
That's wild.
Right? So, but I didn't get my system until the Saturday. So 2 days later. So here's the crazy part about that. So when you open the box for the system, and we can talk about Staplegate too.
Yeah.
When you open the box for the system, it's packed. I will say they could have done a better job packaging this thing when it comes to that part of it, because it is literally like a very thin piece of cardboard and that screen's right there.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't flip it around.
I don't understand. I get why it's faced up because it's like, oh, there's the screen. Mm-hmm. Why isn't it in the bottom?
Yeah. Why isn't something covering it?
Why isn't it in the bottom tray and then that
the top tray is like the controllers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
seems like
odd.
a flaw. But when you open it up, it pops out like the little piece of paper that has like, here's your Mario Kart code. It has instructions on the back of how to download Mario Kart. Those instructions are wrong, as I learned. So they tell you it's very simple. There's 3 steps. Go to the eShop, sign into the eShop, look for the little place that says enter code. The problem on the Switch 2 is when you go to the eShop, it doesn't immediately take you to the eShop. It takes you to this different landing. Then you have to goofily go into the eShop. And then once you go into the online portion of this section, you have to press Y, and then you're in the actual eShop where it says that.
Weird.
That's wild.
It took me 10 minutes to figure this out because I'm sitting there like, how do I download Mario Kart? Like, this seems ridiculous because I kept looking I'm like, where is this enter the code thing? So that was just completely wrong on the box. But I got it installed, like I said, so it's been fine. Like as I've said before, all Switch 2 games, I'm just going to be digital this time.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mess with the game key cards and is it not?
Well,
a game
especially
key? It's just too confusing.
As more stuff comes out, it seems like more and more and more stuff is just game key cards or codes in boxes. Like I'm sure you've seen that picture of and this happened on the Switch, and hell, it's happened as far back as the PS3, and I don't think many people remember that. But for them to make up a case to put a code in it
is a waste.
Is insane.
That's wild.
Like, I just don't get it. The Split Fiction one is just a perfect example of like how far this thing has fallen. There's like, why even print the case where it has a slot to put a cart in it? What's the point?
Right. It's bizarre. I look at it the same way when I see or hear people that print out digital art or like artwork and make boxes for their digital like Steam games.
Yeah, that's
I'm
weird.
just like, that is such a waste.
I get it. I get it in a sense of like if you're doing it yourself and it's more of like, I want a physical representation of games I know, because maybe you're not the Steam guy who has 1,000 games in his Steam library.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like the 12 games you really like, and you can't buy physical PC stuff anymore. You just can't.
For sure.
So I understand that to a point, but for a company to produce this thing
seems like a waste.
It just seems like a waste of time and money and printing. Like somebody had to design that. Somebody had to print that.
Yeah.
Somebody had to put those things in the cases. It's just why? Especially
it's
when
very weird.
especially so now there's 3 tiers of these things.
Pretty much.
Actual releases, game key cards, which are just keys, and codes. If game key cards exist, why do you need codes? And if codes exist, why do you need game key cards?
Right.
From a Nintendo standpoint, from a consumer standpoint, at least a game key card I can resell. But from a Nintendo standpoint or a publisher standpoint, why am I bothering to pay to make physical things that are nothing? It's a token.
It's very dumb.
I don't know.
As far as the actual system goes, it's very. I think it feels very quality. Like, especially like I had to literally handle a regular Switch right before I got this, because I traded mine in, and it makes that original one feel very cheap.
Yeah.
Like in comparison, like it almost feels like, wow, that almost is like a prototype for what they wanted this thing to be. This one feels very quality. Like even you heard the little click when I did it. It feels natural. It feels very sturdy. The Joy-Cons feel incredibly sturdy.
I have a question about that.
Okay.
The button to release it. Is it in such a place where not necessarily you, but could someone push it on accident?
It's not as difficult because I'll try and show it here. Like, the button that you're talking about is right here.
Sure.
So it's like a trigger, but it's a trigger to the side.
Right.
And your fingers are going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
So
how hard do you have to push it?
Pretty so here, I'll show it. Like, you have to it has a real good feel of like, you can kind of hear it almost snap.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you think because it's literally magnets, and you think that I don't know.
Put it on upside down.
Oh yeah, I've seen people do that. Yeah. Here, hold on. Let's see here. It's going upside down.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then but then it can just unclip, and there's no thing.
There's it doesn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, no.
So that means the mechanism is actually inside
of the Joy-Con. Mm-hmm. So you can. It's not going to show very well, but you can see that little dot up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I'll say they found a way to still make that little switch noise in a satisfying way somehow with this thing. So that's cool. I do also like the new kickstand.
Because it's a full kickstand and not just a kickstand,
but it actually feels like there's some weight to it.
Yeah. And that makes more sense. And that's cool because then you can actually fold it out even further and actually
it goes all the way back. Look at that.
You can set it down kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing where that's where the memory card will go, kind of like the first one. One thing that's a little bit weird is so when you go to open this to put a game in, instead of pulling I'll show it this way. Instead of pulling it from the front, it's from the back, but then it has, you'll see here.
Is it easier?
It holds in.
Okay.
So you pull it out. So you cannot pull this part out. And then, it's just like the other game where you just basically flip it in, flip it out, and it's good to go. It has the dual USB-C ports are cool. It has one on the top of the. It needed
it bad.
I think it's very smart. It still has a 3.5 audio jack. iPhones don't have that anymore.
Most devices don't. Yeah.
Most devices don't. I thought that would be something they would get rid of because, a lot of people still use Bluetooth and stuff. But so as far as the hardware,
you can't use Bluetooth on it, right?
You can. You can use Bluetooth on the original.
Yeah.
That's how all those 8-bit do controllers and stuff
Oh, that's right.
This controller right here will work with it. So I'll say, as far as the actual unit, this thing here, it feels very of quality. The dock, on the other hand, does not. The dock feels kind of cheap. Like, I don't have it in here, it's in the other room, but like where you put the Switch in, the front flap of it, it's really like you can press it
bouncy
in really
kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels kind of cheap. Also, the back of it, like where you plug everything in, remember the original Switch is kind of like a door you open and close?
Yeah.
This is just a panel that easily pulls off, and that feels really loose. And I've seen other people because at first I was like, oh, maybe I got one that's kind of wonky. No, it's like everybody. I've seen some people that are just like, I just leave it off. So
I guess at that point, if I probably would. Like, I don't know if there's necessarily a point to leave it on.
It does have a LAN port, like the updated Switch 1 dock. So if you want it to be wired, you technically can. I didn't do that because, again, I'm not playing online the Switch.
Well, that's the kind of thing where, like, if it's near your thing, plug it in, and if it's not, don't worry about it.
I don't. I have a Switch behind my TV with Ethernet ports, and I'm out. Like, so between the TV and the PlayStation, the Xbox, like I'm done. So I looked at, I'm like, this is the one system will be okay.
Doesn't need it.
At
most you're playing Mario
of it,
Kart. I'm sure that doesn't tax it.
So I'd say, like, the actual handheld system, it feels incredible quality wise. The dock feels kind of cheap to me. I have warmed up. I think I told you originally when I got the controller felt kind of cheap too compared to the original one. I have warmed up to it more, but it does feel lighter than the original one. So it takes a little getting used to. They also added these like back, kind of like if you have one of those Xbox Elite controllers, you know, have the triggers.
Yeah.
They kind of added 2 of those to the back. Oh,
they're programmable, aren't they?
Yeah, you can program them. Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is kind of cool. But they come not programmed. So they don't do anything unless you tell them to.
I wonder if that's a thing where, like, I could program it per
You can program it, as far as I know, you can program it to anything that you want as far as, like, button press.
But what I'm saying is, like, what if for one game I want it to be this, and for one game I want it to be
kind of like
something
you could
else.
Have profiles with the Elite. I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
That'd be interesting.
I'll look into it, but I haven't looked into it yet.
Give us these answers now, Kyle.
Jeez.
You're going to be the Switch 2 expert for the next couple years.
I'm going to have to be because nobody else has got one. Yeah, right? Like,
because they're going to have to they're going to have to come out and be like, hey, man, Final Fantasy 17 is a Switch 2 exclusive. That's the only thing that'll probably lock me in.
Well, because like I said, I'm looking at even. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get Donkey Kong right away. So we'll see. I have to see. I'd like to see more.
I think they're smart by holding that back like a month. Because now it's going to be the kind of thing where everybody's had a Switch 2 for a month and goes, I need something else. I have to get something else.
100% agree. I agree with that. And like,
it's gonna
Mario Kart
more.
is a very good game to launch it with because there's a lot to do with it. And there's a lot of people that'll be sucked into playing that online for at least a month. Right. So, but you're going to get to that point where it's like, okay, I'm ready for something else that's new for this thing.
Yeah.
I did also see, I have not gotten it yet, but I will. There is a new fast RMX for this system that launched.
Yeah,
digitally.
they showed that off.
15, and it actually looks cool as hell.
Yeah,
I actually ran a couple races of the original on this, which I will say, like, the couple games that I have tested as far as like things that are not getting Switch 2 patches per se, they are upscaled and look better than the original Switch.
That's good.
So like actually decently. Like, all right, I can play this on a 4K TV now and feel comfortable about it.
Here's a question, and I don't think it's true because you haven't run into it, but it brings up a funny story.
Okay.
You haven't run into any incompatibility issues, right? Like maybe let's say
I haven't.
A game published by Limited Run for the Switch.
No, so I don't think I put it in the news, but we can talk about it now because I had forgotten.
Yeah.
So I do have a lot of Switch games that are published by Limited Run because for whatever reason, it was either that or PS4. But all, like, for example, all of those Castlevanias I got on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ever did want to play like that DS collection or the GBA collection, right now they are not playable on the cartridge. Anything Limited Run published as a cartridge is not playable on the Switch 2. Now, the rumor that I've heard is because they didn't get a dev kit beforehand, so they haven't had time to test it. But also, you would think, like, if these games are working digitally, what's the issue?
My thought would be that whatever they used for cartridges for these systems are I'm not saying they're not real, but maybe like not approved.
That's what I was thinking.
Think
too.
about like when you put an ink
CDR
cartridge
thing. I was gonna say, think about the CDR gate,
or like
ago.
we've proven that they don't put the best quality into like the physical stuff they make.
For
But
sure.
I'm thinking along the lines of like when you replace an ink cartridge in your printer with like a used one or something that was real at one point, but then you put it in your printer and your printer's like, this isn't a real cartridge, and you're like, well, no, it is, but it kind of
feels like that.
It kind of seems a little bit like that, where it might be real, but it wasn't. The way we loaded our content onto it wasn't like it wasn't Nintendo approved or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Something about that. Or Nintendo updated something for the Switch 2 in terms of like how it reads software, and there's just never had that before.
I can see that.
Yeah. Because they were all burned CDR Switch cartridges.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. To be fair, most of those limited run things I have for the Switch are sealed anyways. I'm not going to open them right now. But
even if I had a Switch
I have
2,
them digitally, so
I only think I ever opened like 3 or 4 of them.
I have. What was wasn't the first game they did for the Switch like Thimbleweed Park?
I have that one, and that is open. I did play that.
I left mine sealed. Yeah. So,
but for a while when they were doing it, I was buying a bunch of them, like Golf Story, and
I never got Golf Story. I got
Hook.
Time Spinner. I got Flint
Hook. Night Trap, of course.
Night Trap. I think I did do Night Trap eventually on there because of the irony.
Right. Because it's just like how.
Because remember
the fact
originally
that this game would end up on here.
Well, remember originally when that was back in the day before they did the open pre-orders, and you had to get when the original version of Night Trap came out.
If you're not here,
and I got
one, you don't get it.
So when they put it up for the Switch, I was like, "Fuck it, I'll get it for the Switch, and it'll be ironic." So
I used it to get like some other ones that were kind of like weird one-off things, like the Panzer Dragoon, like collector's thing, where it's in a Saturn-shaped box. That's just a cool one to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if I was someone who bought a ton of those and played them, I'd be kind of pissed off.
A little mad.
Yeah.
A little upset. But it's like I said, it's fine. Those are games I'm not gonna like try to play right now anyways.
What's the next thing that like is confirmed for it that you actually give a shit about? Like Metroid Prime, probably
Metroid Prime. Yeah, I actually want to sit down. That is high on the list. Right now, like of all the games I'm looking at as far as my backlog, like for whatever reason, Metroid Dread's the one that keeps calling me, so that's probably what I'm going to play. But probably Metroid Prime 4 would be like the next like for sure shoe-in game that I would get for it.
You know what I would like to see on that too, and if you have it and if you haven't played it, I'd like to see Link's Awakening on that.
Yeah, I have to look at that. So I have to look at that because I know that
had slowdown problems on.
So that game they didn't do like a pay for it patch, but it does have a like updated patch, kind of like I don't know if you saw Mario Odyssey has a 4K 60 patch.
That's cool.
So, which is kind of crazy.
So some of those looks like unbelievable in terms of a Mario game.
Great, yeah, incredible. So, but yeah,
But Link's Awakening is one I'd really like to see.
I want to look at, and then I would assume Echoes of Wisdom because it runs on the same engine, probably has some of the same issues.
Yeah, because that game has a problem because since you can create things.
Yeah, that's gonna.
I think I told you when I was playing it. I need to go actually finish it. When you started to delete stuff, the game would kind of like freak out because I think I remember right. There's a button where you can delete everything at once.
Yes,
and I'm sure in terms of like a memory thing for the Switch, it's like. Oh shit, kind of a thing.
I did watch that modern vintage gamer guy on YouTube that he does like a lot of breakdowns and stuff. That guy did confirm when you do video on Game Chat, the video runs at 15 frames per second. So
15 from what I've seen, 15 seems generous.
It seems generous.
Yeah.
So, but again, like I watched it, they praise the quality of the actual audio chat and stuff. Just like talking to people and playing games is fine. Yeah. So,
how many of these people are using blenders 2 feet behind them, though?
I was gonna say, like, weird in 2025 they roll out a feature from 2005. So it's a little weird, but yeah, I like overall, like I think I've said this. I haven't done a video on the channel yet. I will. But I think overall I've said, like, for me, obviously I've enjoyed it. I don't regret my purchase, but I have so many games to play for the dumb thing that it doesn't affect me.
Right.
But if I was the average person out there and I've spent the last 8 years playing everything that's come out for the Switch, you can probably wait another year and get one when there's maybe 2 or 3 other games than Mario Kart.
Right.
Unless you're a diehard Mario Kart person and like you have to play that new Mario Kart today, for the price it is, and for only really having that as a new game, because the only other new game is what the Welcome Tour, which I refuse to buy.
Yeah.
And the Fast Remix thing I will buy, but there isn't anything else really new except for patches for older games. And like I said, if you're a Nintendo person and this is what you've been doing the last 8 years, you've probably already beaten Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom multiple times. So unless you really want to see it look and play better, I don't think the cost of entry is worth it for that. So, but as far as like an upgrade, like I would liken it more to a Switch Pro than a Switch 2, like the next Nintendo.
Well, even when you just kind of showed like the screen for a second, that's just a Switch interface.
It looks identical. The only thing I'll show you. This will be the one thing that'll make you happy. When's the last time you load up the eShop on the Nintendo Switch?
I did it not too long ago, but it's so fucking slow that I hate doing it.
All right,
yeah.
We'll do this in real time. No, I do not want to return to that. All right, we'll do it in real time. So I'm gonna go. I'm trying to do this backwards. Yeah. We're gonna go down to the eShop here.
Yeah.
If I click it, it's gonna pop up. Bam! We're already on the eShop.
That's a lot faster because the other one.
So it takes forever because you have to use that to do that system transfer. It took forever to do that. So I had seen kind of the pre-release people talking about, like, man, the eShop's so much better on this thing, and so that was one of the first things I wanted to try.
You're like me, we're like on the PlayStation. Sometimes I just like to scroll through the shop and just kind of see what's going on.
I like to scroll through the shop.
The PlayStation 1 is quick and
it's quick.
Yeah.
I just like seeing the crazy shit on there.
It takes a second to load a thumbnail, but the Nintendo one, it was just like it's not even fun to even look through.
No, it gets bogged down. It can literally freeze on a page, and you're just like, I guess I'm done. So, that's what I would say about the Switch 2 overall. Is like, I think it's worth it. Either if you're a diehard Nintendo person, you have to have it day one, or you really like Mario Kart. Otherwise, I'd say for like the average Switch person, I'd probably give it like maybe wait and see what's going on like around Christmas time. Because I still feel like there's going to be one other game we don't know about that will be announced.
Oh, they'll do another direct in 3 months where they're like October whatever it's this, November whatever it's this. There'll probably be 2 more games.
I think so
by holiday, not including Metroid. Metroid has been announced for so long, and it's going to be on regular Switch. That's like that's not a Switch 2 announcement. There's going to be probably 2 more things.
I think so.
They have for it.
I think so.
What those are, who the hell knows? But
no, I couldn't tell you.